Hi, everybody. It's me, and I'm alone in my room recording a podcast, and it's a wonderful thing. It's episode 24, and there's so much more. That's how old I am. I'm 24. Pretty crazy. It's been a good chunk amount of time since I've had to do this alone. I've had some amazing guests recently, too, which has been a real honor and a treat. And I'm no longer congested, so doing these is a lot easier. And I'm going to keep this short and sweet today, but I just thought it'd be fun to kind of talk about the idea of being busy, because as a young wannabe, like I am, when you can fake busy really easily. You know what I mean? Like, it's easy to make meetings with people that aren't necessarily productive. It's easy to just like go places, to go to coffee shops, to kind of like get the gears turning. And I feel all that's very important, because I think it puts you in a mindset that allows you to eventually get to being busy. You'll be able to kind of handle it better. You know, like it's like that first week back from summer break, you know what I mean? It's always kind of hard to get in the groove of things with studying, or that first semester maybe even. But like, if you kind of always stay at the ready position, you can always kind of hop to it. And that's great. There's nothing wrong with that. But now, since I've forced this challenge amongst myself, not amongst, uponst, no, just upon, I've forced this challenge upon myself. There needs to be output every day. There needs to actually be something tangible or audible that comes out of my daily choices. And it's really fun. We're almost there. We got like 7 days left after today. And I wouldn't change it for the world. Some of the wins that I've had from this, which I'll share later on my last day, you know. But having to actually produce something every day has been a challenge unto itself. And it's been fun. I'll give you that. It's been a lot of fun. And I think that, you know, a lot of people in like the entrepreneur, Tim Ferriss, self-development, you know, like go-getter, network, synergy, what's another fun one, buzzword, that ecosystem, they talk a lot about like the busy trap. Okay, like you're running from A to B, you're calling person to person, you're having meetings, you're taking lunches, but what, if anything, are you actually doing? And getting to kind of step inside that circle now and have actually had to do something every day, it's fucking exhausting. It's such, like, I'm not just gonna bitch about how hard this is. It's not that hard. I'm gonna cut that negativity off right there. I'm reading a book right now. It's called How to Fill Your Bucket. Or hold on, let me Google to make sure that's right. The book's downstairs. How to Fill Your Bucket. That's how slow of a typer I am, by the way. How Full Is Your Bucket? By, little author action for me. Oh, they made it for a children's book. That's adorable. Tom Rath and Donald O. Clifton. And then Tom Rath and Mary Reckermeyer made the kids' book. I'm reading the non-kids version. And I'm only like a chapter in, but they talk about the importance of like, so Donald O'Keefe, the writer, was they call him Donald O. Clifton, they call him the godfather of strength psychology. So strength psychology is not what's wrong about you, but what are you good at, and let's focus on those and try to cultivate those strengths, especially in business. That can be a very productive thing. And he kind of came up with this whole metaphor about how every interaction is either positive or negative, and it's it's a 2-lane street, but how you take out of your own bucket to giveth unto another. Like my cup overrunneth from I believe the Bible. And how they take out of yours and the interactions between all that. And as I said, I'm only a chapter in, but the first chapter was nuts. So it was about the co-author, who is still alive. Let me, because I can't just remember his name. Tom Rath. He co-wrote the book with Donald Clifton. God damn it. Clifton was on his deathbed. They start writing. Donald gets diagnosed with cancer, and he's like, I gotta finish this book. So they work through chemo. As he gets weaker and weaker, they find new ways to figure it out. But the whole time, Clifton was overwhelmingly positive, especially when you're writing a book like this that he would hope to help people. You have to take a positive light towards situations to have more in your bucket to give and all that. And Rath asks him, what made this all start? What was the positive things that you saw that you thought needed to be talked about as your case studies, right? Like, why did you think this was worth studying? And Clifton goes, there was nothing positive about what I saw that made me want to study this. So the first case study they use is in the Korean War, which is weird because it's never really talked about, the Korean War, if you think about it. In a lot of ways, it's never really mentioned. But what was I saying? So I gotta get off this. I'm getting distracted. During the Korean War, the prisoner of war camps, POW camps, were the least brutal physically in the history of war. They weren't getting bamboo shoots shoved up their fingers like in Vietnam. They weren't getting strung up by barbed wire like in World War II. All these horrific things, none of them were happening. But the death rate at the camps was the highest in military history. It was 38%. And what the Koreans were doing was, instead of physical torture, they were doing psychological torture, which was proven to be much more dangerous. I should have the book. I didn't really know I was going to go into this. It was just on the top of my head because I just read it and then came here to talk to you guys. So they used 4 tactics that were devastating, I guess. They would do just demented shit, and I should just go I could just pause it. I'm just going, nope, we're winging it. Let's see how the memory's doing these days. They would do things that separated isolated the troops, right, from one another. So they'd get 12 of them together, make them stand up, and make them list all the bad things they've done and all the good things that they could have done instead of doing the bad things, right? So then that isolates the troops and makes them feel vulnerable, but it also can build resentment because you hear about the things that could have been done to maybe save a brother in arms or whatever it may be. And then they also try to strip the military aspect out of it. So if a colonel and his men were locked up together, they try to strip that rank from the colonel. And so that way the whole structure of team kind of deteriorated. And then at prisoner of war camps, they're kind of treated as hostages during the whole what is it called, series of engagements. So you're allowed to send mail. If the U.S. government or the army gets mail from loved ones or whatever, they can then send that mail to the POW camp, and if the captors are willing to give the prisoners the letters, so be it. And the Koreans did, but they only gave the negative letters. So I'm leaving you, I've given up on my husband, grandma died, overdue bills. Like if an overdue bill came to a GI at the time, they would give that letter to him while he's in. Like that would just hurt your soul so bad. That was the most negative one. Like they would encourage each other to rat on one another and give them cigarettes and bread and stuff if they ratted on their other fellow captives, but nobody ever got punished too, so it was just the act of betrayal, right? And that was dark, but like that whole bill thing, imagine you're in prison, you're a captive of war, and you get like your student loan debt check. Like, oh my God, that would hurt. That would just be such a bummer. So when he saw, and the effect this had on the troops is they called it give up itis, is what the nickname was. They would just crawl into their huts, pull a blanket over their head, and 2 days later somebody would pull the blanket off, and the guy would sadly have died because he just gave up. He just gave up fighting, which is terrible. It's really dark. But what came of it was that he said, I saw so much negativity when I studied this and what the power of negativity could do, that I really thought positivity must have the same amount of power. And if we study positivity and we study strengths, we could probably really do some good if negativity can do so much wrong. And I think I wrapped that up beautifully. I think I'm going to call it a day because I have been lazy all day. I'm going to riff a little bit more. I've been lazy all day, kind of. And sometimes it makes me feel really anxious. Like, oh, you shouldn't just watch TV. Oh, you shouldn't just cook and clean. Or, oh, you shouldn't just do this. You got to be doing something. And that's most of the times. But some days I wake up and I don't do anything and I don't feel anxious about it. Those are the days that I really enjoy the most, because it's like my body and my mind are kind of like connected, and they're like, you just need to take a chill pill and just hang out. So I've eaten 2 ice cream cones, drinking about 1 cup of tea, ate twice some egg sandwich prepared by my roommate. Then I made stir fry for us following. And it's really nice those days where like you're just not anxious. Like no anxiousness is a great day. And with that, goodbye. I love you. I'll see you tomorrow. Tomorrow's guest is Jake Jarrell, which is going to be so much stupid fun. Jake works with me at 3rd and Hollywood, and he has his own podcast called High School Sweethearts, and he is probably one of the funniest motherfuckers I've ever met. Yeah, that'll be a hoot. All right, cool. Well, can't wait. See you tomorrow. Bye, everybody.
I'm not always right. I'm only trying to be nice with my unsolicited advice. Unsolicited advice.